The case study I want to share with you involves Simon and Ann Scott. They're age 55 and 50 and plan to retire in 10 years. They have the following liquid assets: $1 million in a CD, $1 million in muni bond fund, $3.5 million in mutual funds, $500,000 in Simon's IRA, $500,000 in Ann's IRA, $6.5 million total liquid assets, plus $900,000 in home value and personal property. Now, the yields should reflect what you and your client believe are reasonable. They can be level as I've shown or variable based upon schedules that you input. And incidentally, this is not the time for a Monte Carlo simulation for those who like to use that tool. Once an overall plan is designed, then an asset by asset Monte Carlo analysis may make sense. Okay, so let's assume Simon and Ann want $25,000 a month in after-tax retirement cash flow when they retire, compounding annually by 3% as an inflation offset. Imagine that it's the first day of their retirement. They need to withdraw $25,000. From which account should they take it, and does it make any difference? You bet it does. Let's initially look at what we call strategy 1 bad logic. Taking the money sequentially, first from Simon's IRA, then from Ann's, then from the equity account, then from the tax-exempt account, then from the CD, exhausting each one till you move on to the next. Let's see what Wealthy and Wise says about that kind of logic analysis. There they are in that particular order. So let's check the results real quick. Well, you can see that their required and provided lines are met at the risk of cratering their net worth. Bad logic creates bad net worth, as you can see in this example. Let's go back and hit the max net worth button. This is an absolutely terrific algorithm built into the system, because what it will do is automatically reorganize the assets to produce the best possible results. And you're going to be surprised here at the difference. We check results this time, and we come up again with the same pattern of cash flow provided. And watch the net worth. Instead of 3.6 million, it's 16 million two. The difference between those two is pretty amazing. Going back to the analysis, there's your good logic. Because the order in which your liquid assets are accessed for cash flow should be prioritized to produce the highest possible long-range net worth. And to my knowledge, we're the only software company in the country that can do that. On the screens that follow, we'll refer to bad logic as strategy 1 and good logic as strategy 2. Now here are the two long-range pictures, one atop the other. A nice part of the system. You can put them both together. Long-range net worth has increased over strategy 1 by 339%, simply because you selected the most efficient distribution order. No other planning, no changes other than how you get the money from what asset. Wealth to heirs obviously has an equally impressive difference. Wealth to heirs has increased by 286%, which makes sense because the net worth is higher with strategy 2. I like this graphic about as well as any we have. The overall results at the end of, in this case, 40 years. You can show it at any point in time, but I picked 40 years here. That's pretty powerful. It really dramatizes the differences. It's hard to believe that the contrast could be this striking. Okay, with over 12.5 million more net worth, let's do a little tax planning by introducing another strategy, strategy 3, which involves converting the Scott's IRAs to Roth IRAs with the income tax on the conversion withdrawn from their assets. We'll add a wealth replacement trust, I'll call it WRT in places, that is funded with $2 million of survivor life insurance covering both Simon and Ann. With strategy 3, the Scotts will make annual gifts of $20,000 a year to fund the policy owned by the trust that's been drawn in favor of their 3 kids. The funds for the gifts are also withdrawn from their assets, so their retirement cash flow is unaffected. This may reduce net worth, maybe not. Let's see. Long-range net worth has increased over strategy 1 by 436% due to the efficiency of the Roth IRAs, even though the income tax of the Roth conversion is withdrawn from assets. Long-range wealth to heirs has increased by an incredible 615%, caused by the efficiency of the Roth IRAs and the life insurance in the trust. And there's again my favorite graphic. It's a wow graphic, isn't it? Caused by the combination of good logic plus Roth IRAs plus the trust-owned life insurance. Notice the makeup of the long-range net worth of strategy 3. As you can see from the light blue area of the graph, it primarily consists of Roth IRA assets. A Roth is extremely valuable for heirs to inherit, since all the withdrawals are free of income tax, as opposed to an inherited IRA, which produces taxable income only. So let's take a last look at all three strategies. First, the bad logic, then the good logic. Finally, good logic plus Roth plus wealth replacement trust. Imagine the reaction of a client who sees a comparison like this. You don't want your client seeing it from a competitor. It's just one example of the comparative logic of wealthy and wise. So I think the most important thing we've learned today is you can get these kinds of results within the framework of people understanding that their cash flow is of paramount importance. Where they get their cash flow is even more important. Preserving a comfortable level of living net worth is vital, and making sure their children are well taken care of is the icing on the cake. Just about every other planning concept that you can think of can be illustrated in comparative wealthy and wise. It's a terrific system. One last thought. With the increase in the lifetime exclusion of estate assets to $5 million, 10 per couple, plus indexing for inflation, many of your clients will no longer need a plan to avoid estate taxes. One of the biggest markets for these clients will be the conversion of IRAs and 401ks to Roths and paying the income tax on the conversion by way of an asset withdrawal. A Roth conversion increases net worth and wealth to heirs, and is easy to illustrate with wealthy and wise, and it is particularly powerful when coupled with a good logic, bad logic comparison. Don't overlook this market. You will do so at the peril of losing clients.